Welcome to Business Exit Success, the podcast dedicated to helping small business owners on how they can successfully transition out of their business on their terms while also living a life of purpose and fulfillment after the sale. I am your host, certified financial planner and certified exit planning advisor, Tom Poltersdorf. Welcome back to Business Exit Success, everybody. Today, we are talking about readiness to exit. And from my perspective as an exit planning advisor, I like to consider three different types of readiness factors that I walk business owners through to determine how ready they really are to make a transition and step away from the business. I'll briefly mention each of them on this episode. We'll dig into one of them also on this episode. And in the next two upcoming episodes, I will address the other two. So what are these readiness factors? The first one is personal readiness, which is what we will talk about today. Then there is financial readiness. And lastly, there is business readiness. Now let's back up real quick because I want to define exit readiness. Exit readiness is not when you make the decision to sell. It's not one day when you wake up and you say to yourself, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired. I want to spend more time with my family and travel. How can I get out of this thing? Just because you've made the decision that you would like to transition out and step away doesn't mean you and your business are exit ready. Being exit ready is a state of fact, not a state of mind. I'll say that again. Exit readiness is a state of fact, not a state of mind. Now, there's of course some variability in measurement with this, but stick with me and I want to share a personal experience I've had multiple times. I've had many conversations with other experienced M&A advisors, so mergers and acquisitions advisors. These people buy and sell businesses all day, every day. That's literally all they do. I was at an event just towards the end of this last year, and I was speaking with another M&A advisor and asked how his year went. And what stuck out to me was that he had to turn away over 500 businesses because they were not in good enough shape to put onto the market. 500 businesses. So these 500 owners were in their own state of mind, ready to sell, but they couldn't. They were not exit ready. So imagine you work your entire life building a business, putting in blood, sweat, and tears to build this thing. And finally, when you're ready to get out, when you're ready to retire, travel more, get some of your freedom back, start another business, you can't. So why were all these businesses turned down? It's due to one, two, or all three of the readiness issues that we are going to discuss on today's episode and the next two episodes. So, okay, personal readiness. Are you, the business owner, ready to step away? Are you ready to stop showing up to the office? Now, keep this in mind. When you explore exit planning, it doesn't have to be a one-all, be-all exit, right? In fact, many owners slowly transition out, giving up responsibilities along the way. Others like to stay involved and sit on a board to have a say in the long-term vision and direction of the company. There's not one right answer on how to do this. But for many owners that I've talked with, there's no consideration to passions outside of the business. There's no goals and objectives for after the sale. There's no contingency plan, no transition team in place to provide guidance along the way to ensure you're on track and in the best position to be successful. Many times we run into family members not being on the same page when it comes to an exit. There's a lack of support. There's no decision on who in the family or not is going to take over the business. Or would it be better if you sold to a strategic buyer or a competitor? What about life after the sale? There was a study done by the Exit Planning Institute that surveyed business owners asking, what do you plan to do post-transition? 47% said retire. They would simply retire without any specific plans of what that would involve and didn't know if they were financially secure and able to afford it, which would suggest that because this answer is so vague about the future, it ends up being a key contributor to another stunning statistic, which states that 75% of owners who sell regret it 1 year later. Or another scenario, they come to the signing table ready to sell and make it official, and they can't do it. They end up walking away. Now, besides retire as an answer, 27% of owners had no plans at all for what they would do post-transition, and 23% of owners were charitably inclined and indicated they planned to give back. So how can we prepare for this? How can we not become a statistic if we are thinking about stepping away or if we want to start a long-term personal plan for ourselves? First thing I would suggest is to learn about what goes into exiting a business. It's not just about the business itself. Consider how you would live your life outside of the business. What does your identity look like not running your business? These are tough and challenging questions to think through and address early on in the process. I get it. I've taken owners through this process before. And the one thing I will share is that it will take time. It takes time to digest the thought of not showing up to the office. It takes time to accept that your phone is not going to ring as much like it was when you were running the business. For this episode, I'm going to include a one-pager worksheet for you, and it's called Keeping the End in Mind, which is broken up into 4 sections. I've received good feedback on this. You can go to beyondyourexitwm.com/podcast, go to episode 23, and you'll see the link to get it. What you'll do is identify the push forces, and you'll write down what drivers or forces are motivating you to sell. This could be health issues, you want more freedom to spend with family, travel, legacy, etc. Then you'll identify the pull forces. What future life visions will get you through the hardest parts of the sale process? Because the sale process of a business can be an emotional roller coaster. So what factors will help you get through that? Section 3 is about life after the sale and to describe in detail what that looks like. What does your next chapter look like? When does it start? Where will you live? What will you do for work? How are you going to fill your time and stay busy? Start thinking through these questions. Talk to your spouse, get them involved, and gain their feedback. Lastly, section 4 is on the sale terms, which is where you will outline what is necessary to achieve what you described just beforehand. So you list a sale date, ideal purchase price for your business, vacation time, cash at close. If there's an earnout where you need to stay on for a couple years after the sale to ensure the transition is successful, what does that look like? Are you even open to doing an earnout? How much would you want to be paid? And there's a couple more on there too. So work through this, folks, defining what this looks like early on in the process. Even if you have no intention of exiting 10 plus years down the road, building this roadmap early on will position you for long-term success. So with that, everybody, again, I appreciate you all listening and make it a great day. Hey, everybody, real quick before you take off, if you found this episode helpful in any way, please rate the podcast and leave a review. I would love to get your feedback and see if there are any topics you'd like to hear more about going forward. Thank you, and I appreciate you all very much.